Hello there and welcome back to Kleshna's jewellery making workshop. I'm very happy to bring to you today my way of making a tubular twin snake rope necklace, bracelet, anything you want to make with it. It is the most amazing stitch. It's very simple to do and makes fantastic bracelets, as you can see here. So I will get on without much ado and hope that you enjoy working with me today. Right, all you will need to make a tubular twin sort of snaky rope, the reason I call it snaky rope, you can see, is it has this wonderful undulating sort of power about it, is because basically it's snakes and it's a rope. It's very, very simple stitch. All you will need component wise is some twin beads, and later on I will tell you some factoids about twin beads and how many centimetres each twin needs. Now the first thing I would recommend you do is to cull your twin beads. I have one here that's broken in half, which if I was furiously going through doing this stitch I might not recognise, and the only other thing that happens to twin beads is that sometimes one of the holes is filled, and I can tell you now that if you've got part way doing, you know, maybe a long piece like this, you get thoroughly hacked off when you find that the row or a few rows before has got gunk in the hole. Right, very simple stitch. You need 12 beads on the first hole, on the first round, sorry, and what I will do now is I will do it in alternating colours so it's visually much simpler for you to see. So there we go, we're going to pick up 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, right? I'm actually using Beadalon's Wildfire here because I actually love it as a product. It's easy to thread, it's very good to work with, and it's very, very durable. Right, so you can see I've got 12 here. I seem to use my index finger to go around for almost all the work that I do, and I have to tell you that I think twin beads are my current favourite bead, in that they enable one to have the most incredible flexibility and enable us to do so many different things. Now, when you're starting anything off, it's always important to make the first row very, very durable. So I go around it twice. As you can see, I've got an end piece here, and the reason I have an end piece is it's quite fiddly. It's a little piece of work. I go past the end piece because of the join. Now there we go. There's my first little round here. Don't make it too tight. You can always tighten things, but when you've got a, hold on, I'm just going to loosen that up. When you've got a circle and it's too tight, you won't find that the beads move up and down, which is what we want these to do very easily. Now, I'm going to move the pin off my board here. What we're going to do next is what I call step up. Now, as you know, twin beads have got 2 holes in them. Okay, in fact they look a little bit like piggies or puppy dogs' noses. If you look at the profile, they've got a little bit that goes out like that and out like that on the other side, so they do sit in between each other. So to step up, you simply go into the next hole, one up, and it's a term you'll hear me using a lot. Right, we are going to miss this black bead out, and because I'm doing a stripe which will look like that, and we'll come on to patterns later, I'm missing that bead out. I'm inserting it into the next bronze bead here. I'm missing out the next black bead, but I'm picking one up, going through the bronze one. I hope you can see what I'm doing. My wonderful camera lady is, hold on, no doubt picking this up, and she'll be shaking her head furiously at me if it doesn't work. There we go, we're going through this one. we're missing out another black bead. Now you understand why I say do not make your beads too tight, because they don't move up and down so easily. Hold on, and I'll show you this when I've actually finished doing this row. There we go. So I'm going through the spare hole on all the bronze beads, and I hope by doing it in these just two colours it will make it easier for you to see. Right, I have got back to the beginning now. I'm going to show you what we've done before I gather it up. In essence, basically, let's bring that down there. Is that helpful? Okay, I've gone into every other bead. Okay, so now I'm going to pull this a little bit tighter, and you'll see what happens. I get like a little Sputnik thing here. And that, there we go, is the first row of doing the stitch. Now what I then do is I go past the join that I originally started. Now the reason for doing this, folks, is it creates a much more durable length of snake rope stitch, because if you go through the same join every time, you're going to create a weak joint. And then basically I step up again, and my next row I normally go in the opposite direction, so I have gone against my own best intentions here, which is something I often do, but hey, we won't worry about that today. Right, I've gone through the black bead, and the next row I'm going to put in is a bronze bead. And now this stitch builds very, very quickly, and because it's so simplistic, it's something you can probably do whilst you're watching the telly. You can see the benefit of holding on to the end part here. I'm trying to do this to camera so that you can see exactly what is happening. Whoop, come back to mummy, baby. And there we go. I've almost done another row. It's only 6 beads, so once you put your first 12 beads on, it's only then 6 beads for every other. There we go. I'll come back to the beginning again, and I'm going past the beginning. You know, sometimes whimsically I'll go around the whole row again, just so that I have a nice durable piece of work. I'm going through this bronze stitch here, and going back on it here, and my next row is going to be a black row. And you will see, so literally 6 beads now in each row. Now my very long snake necklace took me about 1500 beads. In fact, I'm going to tell you a little bit about this, and I'll tell you a bit more afterwards. So 1 gram of beads is about 16 beads, and 100 grams is about 1,600 beads. I know it sounds very precise, but when I do my telly programs, I need to tell people exactly what they will be getting, and it's as exact as I can be that we actually weigh everything on a diamond gram counter. There we go. Now the biggest problem that you can have here is just something you've encountered, which is if you use a very long piece of thread, then you can sometimes get slightly tangled up in it. But I'm just going to do one more row, and then I'm going to show you another little trick of mine. So I think really it's not very difficult now for you to get the gist of what you're doing. Is you're just quite simply going round one way, back the next way, and therefore you have a wonderful piece of sort of snake rope weave, as I call it. Here we go. Hold on. And there we go. That's how you do snake rope weave. And here's a little piece that I have done earlier there. Hold on. Let me bring this piece up here. Now here's a piece that I've done which is very patterned. And one of the other things that I like to do is, whilst this is the starting end, when I've worked a long piece of snake rope weave, I stop at one end and I go to insert a new piece of, a new strand of wildfire. Just go about 3 rows back and insert it, rework your stitches. But I like to work from both ends because I find that it gives me a far more flexible bottom end. Okay, now what I'm going to show you now is how to join your piece of snake rope weave together. Now, as you'll see on this one, I've done a number of rows. This is about 18 to 20 centimetres long, and you need a certain number of rows in order to be able to bend this, okay? Now, as you will see, because we've done every other stitch, this has a way of perfectly slotting in like that onto itself. So this is why I like to work at both ends, because it gives me just a nicer, neater fit. So literally, bring your work around. I've stepped up on the black bead here. I'm going into the bronze bead opposite it. Make sure your work is not too twisted when you're doing this, and I'm basically zigzagging it together. So I'm not sure if you can see this. So I'm coming up here, down here. I'm going to put it over the cream board where you can see it probably a little bit better, I reckon. I'm going into this one here. I'm going up through this one here. So we're basically doing a zigzag stitch. Okay. I'm going down to this one here. And as you do it, when I did this and I hadn't worked the other end, I found that my join was slightly twisted and not nearly as professional looking at the end as when I had worked both ends. Goodness knows why. I'm sure one of your more scientific people out there might well tell me. Just as someone told me that she didn't like me calling the components ingredients. So I'm terribly sorry. But when I'm thinking and doing and showing, I don't always necessarily think of exactly the perfect words to say, but I didn't think ingredients was that offensive, however. Right, and here you can see we have a perfect join and a rather lovely piece of jewellery, I think you will agree. So here is my rather beautiful finished bangle. Now let me see if my nice big fat hand goes in it. Yes, look at that, isn't that beautiful? Don't you want one of those? And here is my lovely necklace. There we go. And I feel ready to go out to the ball, Cinderella. Okay, a few factoids about twins is that 1 gram is about 16 beads, 30 grams is about 480 beads, and so on and so forth. My necklace, this long necklace, which is about 33 inches, took me roughly 1,500 beads. And I also wrote down that how many make a centimetre? I think 16 to 18 beads make a centimetre. So if you want to work out from that how big your wrist is, how long a necklace you want, you might find that little fact rather helpful to you. Anyway, it's goodbye from me, and I will see you back again soon to tell you more about these wonderful twin beads. Ta-ta.